Well, look, guys, look. All right. It's in these moments right here that we should all be reminded that we've been waiting months and months and months and months for football. And a lot of us even said, I just want to feel something. All right. There's been this hole in my life, and football, I've been waiting for it to fill that hole. That's what she said. So I want to remind you in this moment where week one probably did not go the way any of us wanted it to go. There's a lot of people who are probably disappointed with their fantasy teams. I want to remind you in this moment right here that this is what we were waiting for, just to feel something. Let's talk about week one, players that busted. Let's talk about what our panic level was, is heading into week two. If you should be panicking, selling low, buying high, or the opposite of that. I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Hey, do me a massive favor and go ahead and smash that like button on today's stream. Just so you guys know, we are doing a giveaway today. We are giving away a beautiful 2025 team playbook. This is a customized team review. So if you're out there and you're like, I think I need help with my fantasy team. Well, we're giving away a team playbook at the end of today's stream, the very end. All you have to do to enter is type BUST into the chat, all one word, and like the stream. And at the very end, all right, we're going to talk about all the chaos of week one, but one of you guys are going to win a free team playbook. All right, I want to start the stream by just reminding you, all right, let's say your panic level right now is a 10 out of 10. Let me be your counselor. Let's connect together, all right? Because what I want you to do is take a little woosah. All right, let's all take a deep breath in and let's breathe out, because this happens every single week one of every single year in fantasy football. I want to remind you guys, in case you forgot, this happens literally every single year. There are always players that you're disappointed about, and then they end up being completely fine, and you're panicking for nothing. So, friendly reminder, all right, last year, 2024, in week one, Anthony Richardson was a quarterback 4 after week one. All right, Derek Carr was a quarterback 6. And who was at the bottom? Well, Joe Burrow was your quarterback 29 in the first week. He finished as a top 3 quarterback in fantasy football last year, okay? At the running back position, after 1 week, J.K. Dobbins was the RB4. Ramondre Stevenson was the RB7. You had Jerome Ford as a top 12 name, but you had plenty of names that were not great. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry weren't even in the top 25. All right, you had names like Chase Brown as RB43. He hadn't gotten that role yet. So you had plenty of names that were busting. Chuba Hubbard was the RB68. He had 1.4 fantasy points. All right, calm down. Woosa. Need more reminders. Well, after week one last year, Jaden Reed was your wide receiver 1. All right, Cooper Kupp was your wide receiver 2 in fantasy football. Alan Lazard was your wide receiver 3. All right, can we all calm down for a second? I want to give you some perspective right now. I don't want you to freak out over nothing. Xavier Worthy was a wide receiver 11. Alec Pierce was a wide receiver 10. And we had plenty of names that underperformed. Devontae Adams, a wide receiver 37. DJ Moore, wide receiver 41. Puka Nacua got injured, but he was down there. Sutton was a wide receiver 54. All right. DK Metcalf, the wide receiver 63. JSN, the wide receiver 76. Calm down. How about the tight end spot? Well, after week one, Mark Andrews was dead last year. It was over. Ladies and gentlemen, it was over. It was Isaiah Likely season, and he was the hottest name off the waiver wire, and people ended up just wasting a bunch of fab because ultimately they panicked about things that it was too early to panic about. So again, if you're just joining us, we're going to talk about some of the names here in week one, and if you should or should not panic. If you want to enter today's giveaway, we are giving away a 2025 team playbook, which is a customized review of your fantasy team. Maybe you feel like you really need help with your team. You're not sure what direction to take it. Well, go ahead and type BUST into the chat, all one word, and like the stream. Once you've done those 2 things, you'll be entered, and at the end of the stream, we will go ahead and give away a team playbook. All right, let's break it all down, starting with the Miami Dolphins. So there's going to be moments today where I tell you, don't panic, everything's going to be okay. Now, I think there wasn't a more pitiful performance by an NFL team in week one than the Miami Dolphins. Point blank period, I truly don't think there was, from top to bottom, the entire team was god awful. When Daniel Jones puts a 30 bomb on you, and you barely score a single touchdown, that's not a good place to be. Now, To anybody out there who owns Mr. Tyreek Hill, Mr. Jalen Waddle, I'm so sorry. We were very much anti-Tyreek Hill this year. But even myself, someone who has no bags of Tyreek Hill, okay? Which, by the way, Tyreek Hill, 8 total points, just 6 targets, caught 4 of them for 40 yards. You could see him on the sideline, pissed. Tyreek Hill, was on the sideline angry. He was not excited about this offense. I do not know if those trade rumors are going to die anytime soon. But the offense looked awful. It looked stagnant. It looked terrible. They couldn't protect Tua. Tua couldn't make a pass to save his life. Jalen Waddle went into the medical tent a couple times. And we're like, oh my gosh, Jalen. Week one? We on this channel were not very high on Tyreek Hill. We were not drafting him anywhere. We don't have any stock of him. However, even in saying that, okay, I'm not going to sit here on this channel and tell you that you need to panic on Tyreek Hill. You need to trade Jalen Waddle, because I want you guys to keep something in mind, okay? When a player underperforms in week 1, you're not the only one thinking about it. Your entire league is. So if I were to come on this stream right now and say, hey, sell your Jalen Waddles, sell your Tyreek Hills, for what? You're not going to sell them for anything worthwhile. You've got to hold, all right? There is no time to panic sell right now. However, this was the one team that I would say looked the worst of any team in week 1. Like, by far, it was truly disgusting to watch. So my panic level right now is a solid 6 out of 10. I'm not looking forward to watching this offense every single week if you're a Miami Dolphins fan. All right, let's move on. How about the Bengals? So I kind of fell into a trap here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I fell into the trap that because the Cincinnati Bengals were playing every week in the preseason, every week they had their starters out there, and they said, we want to start hot. We're so tired of starting off slow. We want to start hot. And I kind of fell into the trap that, you know what? I think they finally figured it out. I think they figured out how to kind of, I guess, alleviate those early season woes. But here in week 1, unfortunately, it was the same story, just repeated another time. The Bengals looked sluggish. They could not protect Joe Burrow. The defensive line of Cleveland was in there like swimwear. He was being sacked a bunch of times. There was no connection between him, Chase, and Higgins. However, my panic level is a 0 out of 10. Truthfully, there is no reason to panic on any of these names at all. If anyone is telling you to panic on any of these names, I think they're lying straight to your face. Calm down. You put all these guys straight back into your lineup next week. Yes, I know. I understand you're worried. You're concerned. Joe Burrow had 8 fantasy points. I understand why that's concerning, okay? I know you're concerned. Jamar Chase only had 4.6 fantasy points. Only 2 catches on 5 targets. Relax, okay? T. Higgins, same thing. 3 catches for 33 yards. I want you to take a second. I want you to take a deep breath in and breathe out, because it is not the time to panic on the Bengals. And by the way, next week, who do they face? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, so even as early as next week, this entire team could turn it all around. In fact, I would be shocked, absolutely shocked, if Joe Burrow is not a top 7 quarterback next week. If Jamar Chase isn't top 12 name, they should get back on track and relatively soon. They've got a great get back game here in Jacksonville, versus Jacksonville, rather. Again, I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Hey, if you are just joining the stream, I got to let you know we are doing a giveaway today. If you haven't entered the giveaway yet, all you have to do is type the word BUST into the YouTube chat, all one word. All right. And once you've done that, the next step is like the stream. Those are the 2 things you need to do to enter to win a team playbook, which is a customized review of your fantasy football team. You can see one of the graphics here on the screen that you could get yourself. So again, all you need to do right now is like the stream and type the word BUST, and you'll be automatically entered. Okay, let's talk about some tight ends. Man, guys, if you drafted George Kittle and Brock Bowers, what an awesome start it was, right? I mean, George Kittle in the first quarter. I mean, let's just look for a second. In the first quarter, George Kittle, 4 targets, 4 catches, 25 yards and a touchdown, 12.5 points in 1 quarter alone. And then we got the dreaded news. We all got the notification. George Kittle is headed to the blue tent, the medical tent. And unfortunately, unlike Puka Nacua, he did not come back because it was a hamstring injury. Now, there's no reason to panic on Kittle long-term as a player because every week that he's available, he'll be a must start, like one of the best tight ends in fantasy football. But there definitely is reason to panic in the sense of you're probably not going to have him for a little while. Hamstring injuries, the only thing that heals a hamstring is time. And you don't have time in the fantasy football season. You just don't, okay? It is going to take at least, in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor and we'll have to stay tuned, okay, so don't take my word for it, but very rarely does a player leave the game with a hamstring injury and then come back, the next week and play. Okay, I mean, about 85+% of the time, that does not happen, okay? So you're looking at a name like George Kittle and you're saying, oh my gosh, I drafted him in the 3rd round. He was going to be like my X factor at the tight end. But now you have to face the reality that, oh my gosh, I might not have George Kittle for at least 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. Worst case scenario is that he goes on the IR and has to really, it's a Nico Collins situation. Think about what happened to Nico Collins last year. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at a 8. So I'm pretty panicked, but again, it has nothing to do with him as a player. It has to do with the fact that so early in the season, a guy that you drafted so high is probably not going to impact your roster. And I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Let's talk about Brock Bowers as well. Okay, so Brock Bowers, it was a really weird situation. Like, to start the game, they weren't playing him on a high percentage of the snaps. We're starting to see how Pete Carroll really wanted to see this offense unfold there with Chip Kelly. We saw a lot of two tight end sets. We saw a lot of Michael Mayer. But still, every time he was on the field, he was getting so many receptions, so much yardage. I mean, the first catch, he had a 25-yard reception. And we were like, oh my God, this man's about to put up 300 yards. Now, the issue with Brock Bowers, and I don't think this one is as serious as George Kittle, but I could be wrong. We could get a report in 24 hours it is more serious. But he did leave the game with a knee injury. Okay, we don't know the severity of it. There were reports that Brock Bowers wanted to enter into the game again, but the staff actually held him back. So it's hard to really put your finger on exactly what that situation looks like here moving forward. But again, same thing as George Kittle, but you drafted this guy probably a round or two earlier than George Kittle. It's this guy that you spended so much capital on, such a high pick, and you expected him to be this true difference maker for your roster, but now we're not sure how long it will take for him to get back. Again, we don't know what the knee injury looks like right now, but you have got to be staying tuned to all injury reports, over the next couple days, okay? Because that is going to be a big hit to your roster if you drafted him. All right, well, we made a bust video this week. We talked about names like Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, Nick Chubb on that video. We talked about names. We talked about some of the rookies. And in that video, which, by the way, the title, I understand it was suspect, a lot of you guys, but I wanted to have fun. But anyway, one of the things that we talked about is you really need to lower expectations for rookies, all right? In their first game ever, rookies, you need to have low expectations. Well, I didn't expect... I had low expectations for Kaleb Johnson. We didn't tell anyone to start him. We told everyone to sit him this week. But, I mean, it's like that meme. That meme was like, we had low expectations for you, but holy that's kind of the way I feel right now with this offense in Pittsburgh, specifically Kaleb Johnson's involvement. Now, obviously, we figured that once Jaylen Warren got that new contract, it was pretty much writing on the wall in the sense of okay, this is going to be serious. Jaylen Warren is not someone that Kaleb is just going to easily pass. This is someone that you kind of have to respect at this point. But we didn't think that there would be this lack of involvement, right? So we've got to really start to readjust our expectations for a Kaleb Johnson. Let's actually look at the game and let's break it down. So you can see here in week 1, you can see Kenneth Gainwell actually led this backfield with 29 snaps. He had 29 out of the 56 snaps for this running back room. So if you think about that, 29, 56, that's about a 52% target share. Meanwhile, Jaylen Warren had about 25% of the snaps. So right there with Kenneth Gainwell. But Kaleb Johnson, just 2 snaps on 56 total potential snaps. He played 3.6% of the snaps. That's ugly. That is ugly. I mean, at least we saw Henderson. At least we saw Harvey. And these guys were actually involved, even though they weren't starting. He had just 1 single carry. All right. And on his 1 single carry, he had -2 yards. Okay. Now, again, you've got to deploy patience with these guys. So Kaleb Johnson, a lot of people out there are going to be asking the question, like, do I drop him? I would be cautious. I wouldn't be dropping Kaleb Johnson just yet, but he's firmly in like this stash range at this point. And shoot, if you're in small leagues, like anybody out there in 8-team, 10-team leagues, and there's like real important names on the waiver wire, I wouldn't tell you not to drop him. But if you're out there like me in a 12-team league, you know, the waiver wire looks pretty scarce after week 1. There's no clear names that are like dominant, then I would still suggest to stash him. But at this very moment, I actually updated my rankings on the Flock Fantasy website, and I will show you guys. I have dropped Kaleb Johnson down to my RB35, and honestly, even RB35 seems like a little bit too generous. You know, we can decide. This is instant reaction. I will work on my rankings throughout the week. But right now, rest of season rankings, RB35. I don't think he's more valuable than any of these handcuffs like Benson, Scadaboo. In fact, we've got to put Jaylen Warren way ahead of him at this point, right? So we've got to work on those rankings. But Kaleb looks like the road to work is a lot longer than I think a lot of people anticipated, including myself. So Kaleb Johnson, panic level 9 out of 10. This is a real panic, and I think if you're panicking, I'm not going to sit there and say like, don't panic after week 1. Some things it's okay to be concerned about. All right, some things it's okay to be worried about, and I think this is one of those things. Hey guys, I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Hey, look, week 1 is not going to go the way that we want it to. But don't worry, things are going to get better. I promise you. Do me a favor, smash that like button. We are giving away a 2025 team playbook on today's stream. All you have to do to enter is type the word bust into the YouTube chat and like the stream. Once you've done those 2 things, you'll automatically be entered to win a team playbook at the end of the stream. I will give that away to one lucky winner. And of course, we're going to be looking to help you guys with your teams all week long here, because I know you're going to have a lot of questions on the Flock Fantasy site for us. All right, let's jump to the next name here. And every year, like, no fantasy analyst out there, and if they are saying this, you shouldn't watch these fantasy analysts, but no fantasy analyst out there is going to be right on everything. In fact, I would argue that if you watch someone and they don't eat some humble pie in week 1 and they're not honest with you, they're probably not a reliable source. And this is not me shouting anyone out, genuinely. It's just me shouting myself out, or actually like calling myself out, saying, hey, eat some humble pie, Zach. And I need to eat some humble pie with the Jacksonville Jaguars running back room. Because Tank Bigsby was a non-factor. Non-factor entirely. Like, Tank Bigsby was just not a part of the game plan whatsoever. And it's hard to go out there and say, well, he'll be more involved in certain games. If Tank Bigsby was going to be involved in a game for the Jaguars, why would it not be this game? A game that they dominated from start to end. What is the game script that you need to see to believe Tank Bigsby is going to be involved? Travis Etienne looked like that dude. He looked like the dude that they drafted in the 2nd round. Etienne came out there and absolutely balled out. Almost 9 yards per carry, 143 rushing yards, almost 19 fantasy points. I'm not even going to say he looked like the old version of Etienne. This is the best game Travis Etienne has ever played. Straight up, this is the best game Travis Etienne has ever played. So I believe he has comfortably put all of the talks about him potentially, being moved. I believe he's put all those to rest. And if we go in and we look at the Jaguars' usage here for the running back room, you can actually see that Etienne had 40 snaps. Tank Bigsby was 2nd with 14, but it's just not even that important, right? 14. 16 rushing attempts for Travis Etienne, just 5 for Bigsby. Then you go and look at targets. 3 targets for Travis Etienne, just 1 for LeKent Allen Jr. I mean, we were concerned that this could be a 3-way, and not the kind of 3-way you want to be a part of. This was worse. It was a 4-way. It was a 4-way, but Travis Etienne was a star. He's just sitting in the middle, all right? Getting all the love, getting all the attention. So, my gosh, I would say the panic level on Tank Bigsby is about as high as it could possibly get. I don't know. Like, next week versus the Cincinnati Bengals, do you really think that game script is going to be Tank Bigsby friendly? Because again, if they're in a game where they dominated the Panthers and never needed to throw really in the second half, and Bigsby had 5 carries, what script are you waiting for? This is one of those moments where I could be overreacting, but Bigsby is a name that I am comfortable to drop on the waiver wire if you have no other options. I'm not sitting here saying that you need to drop him, but if you have no other options to drop on the waiver wire, I am not going to tell you to stash Tank Bigsby at this point. It's a backfield that is using 4 running backs. That is very clearly shown that Etienne is their guy. Okay? So again, at this point, I think he's droppable if you're in a smaller league. But man, that was a difficult game to watch if you're a Tank Bigsby truther, because it is Travis Etienne season. That is more than apparent. Okay, how about Jerome Ford? We're not going to make this very quick, very long, but Jerome Ford was not a name that I was very confident in starting this week. I felt like that offense was going to look pretty bad in Cleveland, and it's not like I was team Dylan Sampson. Like, Dylan Sampson looked good, but we didn't want to start anyone, okay? We didn't want to start anyone in that backfield. It just sounded like a disgusting game. It sounded like a game that they were going to be down for the majority of the time. However, you have pretty much worst case scenario for Jerome Ford. So in week 1, he has 1.5 points. He only has 6 rushing attempts for 8 yards. He got outplayed by Dylan Sampson. And even worse, we've got Quinshon Judkins, who just signed with this team. So with all due respect, if there is any droppable running back that was drafted in the majority of your leagues, Jerome Ford fits that to a T. He is the droppable running back. I would drop him now. Like, Sunday Night Football is about to start. I would drop him now and go pick up, any of the backup running backs in this game and see what they can do. I would go pick up Kyle Monangai from Monday Night Football. You can drop Jerome Ford. The grass is not going to get greener because there is no other side for Jerome Ford. In fact, in this game, he played 33 snaps, great. But he only had 7 touches to 20 for Dylan Sampson. Sampson had 8 targets and 12 carries. So Ford was on the field more often, but they decided to use him less often, and that is typically an indication that he's not their guy, especially when we think about, a Judkins entering the fold here very soon. Again, I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Do me a favor, smash that like button to show some love. Got a like goal today of 500 likes. I know that's audacious, but with your help, I think we can get there. All right, let's talk about David Njoku. This might be a surprise to some of you guys, but if you drafted Njoku in like the 7th, 8th round in your fantasy draft, this is not what you wanted to see in week 1. This is not what you wanted to see. Because, man, Harold Fannin Jr. looks like a dude. He does. Right now, Njoku played 64 snaps compared to 55 for Fannin. They had a lot of 2 wide receiver sets. Njoku ran more routes. But again, Harold Fannin was targeted at a higher rate when he was on the field. On a per route run basis, we had Fannin as like a feature weapon. Fannin was like a feature weapon in this offense, right? So he was on the field for 32 routes run. He had 9 targets. So he was targeted 28% of the time he ran a route. Okay, 28% of the time he ran a route, he received a target. Meanwhile, Njoku was only targeted 12% of the time he ran a route. Now, this is one of those situations where we've talked about a lot of names today. And some of them we've said, don't panic. Some of them we said, it is maybe time to panic. You can drop these names. So not every player is a panic on today's video. It's having a conversation. But Njoku is a strong hold right now. We should not be moving him off our roster. We should wait to see if these trends continue from one week to the next. However, guys, I don't think you understand how rare it is to see a tight end as a rookie who was not a first round or second round pick. Harold Fannin was not drafted highly in the draft, okay, in 2025. I don't think you guys understand how rare it is to see a rookie with that late draft capital be that involved in week 1. Guys, he had 9 out of 41 targets. 9 targets. He led the entire team in targets. He had a 22% target share in his first ever game. Harold Fannin's going to be like the talk on the waiver wire. And who knows, because we've already seen, Isaiah Likely last year. Who knows, this could be the same exact thing. But to do that in their first game as a rookie, man, I don't know, guys. I don't know. So my panic level on David Njoku right now, I don't want to get too crazy, but I would probably put it at a strong 3 or 4 out of 10. So we're not going to go overboard, but man, it is not looking pretty. Okay, let's quickly talk about Terry McLaurin. I'm not even going to dive into anything here. You see this often with guys who have a holdout. You know, I know Jaden Daniels says, well, the chemistry is there. There's no big problems. Well, obviously the chemistry wasn't there, right? I think we're all on the same page at this point. Clearly the chemistry was not there with Jaden Daniels. They need more time. Do not panic. He's going to be just fine. In fact, just last year, if you guys remember, Terry McLaurin started the year with like under 13 points combined in the first 2 weeks. However, I've been begging this channel, and I love all you guys. I was wrong on a lot of stuff this week. I was begging this channel all offseason to draft Deebo Samuel. We were saying, guys, please draft Deebo Samuel. Please. He fits this offense like a glove, and my gosh, is he going to be involved. Deebo fits this offense perfectly, just like we thought he would. He is going to be a factor, but Terry McLaurin is going to be fine, okay? Do not freak out about Terry McLaurin. I mean, every time I talked about Deebo Samuel in a video, the entire comment section was saying, you're an idiot. I'm not drafting Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel's fat. I wouldn't touch him with a 20-foot pole. Okay, there are things that I was wrong about, but right now, Deebo Samuel, if you drafted him in the 7th, 8th round, you got to be feeling pretty damn good because you got a flexible option each and every week. However, the panic level on Terry is a 0 out of 10. All right, you don't freak out about Terry McLaurin. Let's talk Josh Downs. I got to eat some humble pie on this one, at least in week 1. I thought Josh Downs was going to be a breakout player for 2025. Right now, it's only week 1, but like 3 targets. 3 targets. They didn't need to throw the ball at any point in this game, so game script really didn't help him. You know, in fact, if you want to talk like worst case game script, this was probably it for Josh Downs because there wasn't a moment in this game where they needed to throw the ball. But man, I mean, Tyler Warren is that dude. All right, he is Himothy. In his first ever game, 9 targets. He led the team. 9 targets on only 29 passes, by the way. 29 passing attempts by Daniel Jones and 9 targets. I mean, we're talking about a 31% target share out of the gate. Who else drafted Tyler Warren like myself? Tyler Warren, an official my guy this year. So we're feeling good about that call, but not so good about calling Josh Downs a breakout because it's not looking good. He only played 36 snaps, okay? Think about this for a second. 36 snaps out of 73 total snaps. That's 49% of the snaps Josh Downs played. Now, why, you might ask? Well, that's because he did not touch the field for 2 wide receiver sets. Josh Downs was only out there in the slot. That's it. Okay? So the good news is that there's probably not going to be a game like this again where the Colts are dominating. They're going to be in a lot more, 50-50 game scripts. Okay? So Josh Downs is going to have a lot, better games in the future. However, very clearly, Josh Downs is not the number 1 target in this offense. I think there was a range of outcomes before the year where we thought, hey, this dude is different. He's one of the best, top 7 slot receivers in the NFL. He could ascend to that at least this year. I'm struggling to see that range of outcome now, especially seeing how dominant Tyler Warren as a rookie in his very first start was. So, I mean, right now, Josh Downs has gone from like, hey, potential breakout to, man, I just hope he puts up 10 points next week. I just hope he puts up 10 points. Let's talk about Jonathan Taylor. You might be confused about this. Jonathan Taylor, all signs are great for Jonathan Taylor, right? In the first half, in fact, he played 100% of the snaps. 100% of the snaps. Now, I don't know if you guys remember last year for Jonathan Taylor, but if you owned Jonathan Taylor last year, he finished the game. He played well. He was very dominant with usage, but then he left the game with an injury, and it kind of carried over from one week to the next. And that is what we need to monitor right now with Jonathan Taylor, okay? Jonathan Taylor left the game with an injury. Now, this was not widely reported just yet, okay? So this might be a surprise to some of you. Some of you are already on it. You've probably got, your tweets on for everything. But this is something that we need to manage because right now we don't know the severity of it. The official report, in case you actually went and read this report, was that it was just precautionary, okay? So the initial report suggests, hey, if the game was competitive, he would have still been out there and he would have still played. However, coaches aren't always honest. So we need to watch this over this week and see what the reports say, see what the practice reports say, and what the coaches are saying about Jonathan Taylor. But don't be shocked if he misses a couple practices. Okay, so don't be shocked if he misses a couple practices. That's definitely something that we should talk about. Now, I appreciate everybody for being here in the chat. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for joining me. Sunday Night Football is about to be here. But if you don't know, we are doing a giveaway on today's stream. All you have to do to enter that giveaway is type BUST into the YouTube chat and like the stream. Once you've done those 2 things, you've liked the stream, and you've typed bust, all one word, into the chat, you will be automatically entered to win a 2025 team playbook. This is something that we offer. Anytime you get a team review with us on the Flock site with Fantasyland, you also get a customized playbook, which is specifically like catered to your fantasy football team. So if you're out there and you're saying, man, I really think I need help with my fantasy team, well, you could potentially win a customized review from myself and Daniel Badaki. Now, another event that we do need to talk about, let's talk about Calvin Ridley. Now, if you guys aren't aware, Calvin Ridley was on our bust video this week. He was a player that we were very concerned about, and I did not suggest to start him in most scenarios on our live stream this week, okay? So it should not be a surprise to you that he comes out there and has 27 yards. This was always a bad matchup. Patrick Surtain, Cam Ward as a rookie, his first ever game. This was always going to be a potential bust in week number 1, okay? So if you're out there and you're like, okay, Ridley sucked, well, he was always going to suck in this game. That was the expectation. So don't freak out about Calvin Ridley. How about Nico Collins? I'm going to be honest. That was a weird game. But I also don't think you should freak out about Nico Collins. I mean, keep in mind, this is a guy last year who, before his injury, was a top 3 wide receiver in points per game. So don't let one game freak you out, all right? Don't let one game be the reason that, you sell low on a name like Nico Collins, a name that's probably going to win you plenty of weeks. I know week 1 sucks. Guys, remember, last year we talked about this. Amon-Ra St. Brown in week 1. Amon-Ra St. Brown had under 5 fantasy points. This is not uncommon, okay? And something that we have to keep in mind is that to start the year, defenses always have an advantage. I mean, guys, look at your entire league. Go look at all your league and all their matchups. Very few people are like ecstatic about their fantasy football week this week. Okay, very few people are like, oh my God, I'm so happy with my team. That's because defenses typically have the advantage in week number 1. So don't freak out about Nico Collins. Same thing with Brian Thomas. Guys, 7 targets. I know you only see 9 fantasy points, but I see 7 targets in a game where they did not need to throw a single time. Again, the Jaguars completely dismantled the Panthers, and it was early. At halftime, it was like, this game is over. So 7 targets in a game where the Jaguars did not need to throw the ball, that is not reason to panic, okay? That is not reason to panic. If anything, you should be calming down a little bit. Now, the one thing we do need to talk about is the Ken Walker situation. Now, I own Zach Charbonnet in the Flock League, okay? So I want to come on the stream and tell you, it's Zach Charbonnet season, baby. Ken Walker is dead. But you got to keep in mind, number 1, Ken Walker ended up with more touches, 13 to 12. This team did say it was going to be more of a split backfield in 2025. They have said that before, and now they're actually living up to those words. However, keep in mind that Ken Walker has been managing a foot injury for the majority of the last month, okay? So I don't think that we can take away this game and say, oh my gosh, this is exactly how it's going to be for the rest of the year. I think this is more of an indication that Walker wasn't 100% healthy, and they didn't want to risk him, getting some sort of injury moving forward. So look, I know there's a lot of reasons to freak out. I completely understand where you guys are coming from. It's hard after week 1 not to feel like your entire season is over, but it's not. All right, calm down, relax. There will be better weeks ahead. Now, here's what I gotta let you guys know, that right now we are gonna do this giveaway here in a second. We are giving away a 2025 team playbook. All you have to do to enter is type bust into the chat and like the stream. Once you've done those 2 things, you'll be officially entered. And by the way, I have no reason to cope for Ken Walker. I don't have Ken Walker in any league. In the Flock League, I have Zach Charbonnet. So if anyone has reason to be pro Zach Charbonnet, it's me. But I'm trying to help you guys not panic, because this is not some actionable advice. We need to wait for multiple weeks of seeing this backfield, okay? All right, so currently we have 226 entries, and that number is going to rise as you guys like the stream and you type bust into the chat. So I appreciate you guys big time for being here. Now, what I do want to say is, if you're out there and you feel like you need some help with your fantasy football league, the Flock Fantasy site is an incredible resource. And I'm not even going to sell you anything right now. I'm just going to tell you, if you haven't created an account for free on the Flock Fantasy site yet, go do it. All right, I'll send you a link in the chat here, flockfantasy.com/land. Use my promo code LAND when you sign up, and then you can get the My Teams feature for free. If you have a ESPN Sleeper or Yahoo League, you'll be able to link your league completely free and see where Expert Consensus ranks your team amongst the rest of your league. And that is a completely free feature. And then if you see any value in the site, then you can sign up and support us here at Fantasyland and keep the lights on. Right now, we do have the 2025 Season Pass, which is a $34 one-time purchase. Again, all I'm telling you is go create an account for free. Just go create an account for free. I'm not asking you to buy anything, but if you see any value in it, you can become a Season Pass member, get some vouchers, get unlimited access to the site for the entire year. So that is completely open to you if you want a free resource to help with your fantasy football team. All right, let's go ahead and do this giveaway. I appreciate y'all for being here. 262 of you guys have entered. Keep in mind, the team playbook is available on the Flock site if you purchase a team review from Zach and Badaki with Fantasyland, but we want to give one away for free here. So that's what we're going to do. As long as the Spin the Wheel app is going to open for us. Let's see. Is the website looks like it's down, which is awesome timing. So what we're going to have to do is just randomly select a name here. Or actually, they have a choose a winner button. So this isn't going to be like some dramatic reveal because typically we spin the wheel. Let me see if there's a different website that I can use. Let's see. Do we have a different website? Let's see. Okay, let's use this site because it's more fun when the wheel is spun, isn't it? Okay, so let's go ahead and copy all these entries. So one of you are going to win right now. Here we go. Click to spin. So congratulations to the name. Who is it? Congratulations to, I can't read that. Whoever Javrin, yeah, whoever you are, DM me on Discord, my friend. Send me a screenshot of your YouTube account and then tell me your Flock Fantasy username. I'll hook you up with a free team playbook. By the way, if you don't have an account yet on the Flock site, then just go create one for free, my friend. Here's a link that's in the pinned comment, but I'll give it to you one more time. Link your team for free, my dude. Create an account with the promo code LAND. DM me, and I'll make sure to hook you guys up. Now, look, we can all talk about like how bad week 1 was. We're all on the same page, but here's the good part. We can already go and think about week 2 now, all right? We're at the point right now where, okay, week 1 is over. Big deal. But now we can actually go make a lineup for week 2. All right, and that's what we're going to try and do here with the Quick 6 Super Slam on FastDraft. Basically, the way this contest works is you choose 6 players. Week 2 is already available for you to go pick a team. You pick 6 players for week 2. They can't be playing on Thursday or Monday night. And once you've picked those players, just non-quarterbacks, you can submit your lineup. So let's actually submit one together. And you guys can kind of see exactly how this works. By the way, if you haven't ever downloaded the FastDraft app, now's a great time to download it. Use my promo code LAND. All right, and I'm going to match your deposit up to $50. That is 10 free drafts or 5 free Flex 4 tournaments on us. You can check out our link in our link tree. When you finish your first contest, I'm going to send you my weekly rankings. I know it says season rankings, but I'm actually going to send you my weekly rankings for week 2. So you'll be ready to rock for week 2. But again, download the FastDraft app, use the promo code LAND. So in week number 2, let's have a look at the schedule. Now we can get chalk here and we can add a name like Jamar Chase, right? We can add a name like Bijan Robinson, but we need to be really, really unique with this lineup because everybody can enter the same, teams, and then it's going to be difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to chase matchups that we love. We're going to chase, for example, Malik Neighbors versus the Dallas Cowboys. I love facing that defense. We're going to come back at running back, and we're going to get the guaranteed production, from let's say, Derrick Henry versus Cleveland. I expect them to be up in that game. I expect Derrick Henry to have a big game. At wide receiver, let's come back and look at a good matchup. For example, Cortland Sutton versus Indianapolis. Or actually, we want to see whoever's facing Miami. Who's facing Miami here? Trying to remember. Let's see, where's A-Chan? So New England, there's not really a name there. After what Miami did this week, I was hoping to find one of those matchups. But let's bet on a Bijan Robinson here as well in week number 2. Let's bet on a CeeDee Lamb coming back with a vengeance. And let's get Justin Jefferson into the lineup. I couldn't get him into a lineup last week because you can't play Monday Night Football players. And, of course, Christian McCaffrey. So we're going to get a little unique here. We'll go 2 time points for Justin Jefferson. I want to make sure I get my bonuses right. 1.75 for Bijan and 1.5 for Christian McCaffrey. So I think that's the lineup that we're going to submit. All you have to do is hit confirm, enter your lineup, and then you will see the most popular lineups. Now, oddly enough, I am the first person to submit a lineup for this week. Last week, this contest filled 3 times. So people are really hyped up about the Quick 6 Super Slam. If you haven't entered a lineup yet, you know, someone said, hey, that lineup was vanilla. Go submit a unique lineup then. Go submit a new lineup. Go beat me on the FastDraft app. Again, use the promo code LAND and create whatever lineup you want for week number 2. But guys, I appreciate you so much for being here with us. Do me a massive favor and smash that like button to show some love. Subscribe if you like the content. I cannot wait for the waiver wire video coming tomorrow. The start sits in week 2. The bust players, the stash players, the players that you're going to build your DFS lineups around. I appreciate everybody for being here with me. Last thing I will say is, again, if you don't have an account on the Flock site, I'm not selling you anything right now. I'm telling you, it makes no sense not to have a free account. So I'm going to put a link in the chat for you. Okay, use the promo code LAND at sign up. And when you do use our code, you're going to get the My Teams feature completely free. Sync your ESPN Sleeper Yahoo leagues up and, you know, kind of see where you rank amongst the rest of your league completely free. And then if you see any value in it, perfect. Then support the show. All right, $34 one-time purchase for the season pass. You get some free vouchers to come on the stream and ask me questions. But if you don't see value in it, there is absolutely no pressure whatsoever to support. Guys, I appreciate you so much for being here. Last thing I'll say is our like goal today was 500. We were so close. We're at 477. If a couple people can end the stream by smashing that like button and helping us get to 500, then that would be awesome. But good luck tonight. I hope whatever you need to happen happens on Sunday Night Football. For Badaki's sake, because I'm facing him in the Flock League, I hope James Cook and Khalil Shakir do nothing. I'm praying to God. Because I want to win the Flock League this week. But I appreciate y'all. Hey, go enjoy Sunday Night Football. And we will talk very soon. Waiver video will be out tomorrow. Nothing but love. Peace.